in powerlifting and lifting in general, sometimes in order to succeed, you need to set yourself up for failure. And I don't mean do something stupid. I don't mean go for, max attempts every single time you work out. Be smart about it, but you really need to push yourself to that limit where you risk failure in order to succeed. And that's one thing that I've come to learn in this past few weeks of training, where there's going to be times where you're going to fail, but there's also going to be times where you're going to succeed and you're going to make PRs. And the key is that when you fail, you need to learn why you failed. Was it a technical error? Was it overconfidence? Was it overtraining? Is your recovery not right? What exactly was the issue? If you just go for that PR attempt and you push yourself to that limit and you don't know, you can't explain why that happened, why you didn't make that rep, then it was a waste of time, it was a waste of energy, and it's just hindering your performance, hindering your recovery. The key is you need to learn from those mistakes so that way they don't happen again. Of course, you're not going to be able to make PRs all the time, but if you go into the gym and you give it your all every time, then you're going to make PRs. Unless you're doing something really grossly wrong, you're going to make PRs. You're going to succeed. And the key is you need to push yourself to that limit. And the thing is, most of the time we don't even know our limit. That's what I've really come to learn, is that you really don't know how far you can push yourself until you push yourself to that point. That's why you need to set yourself up for failure, because if you don't bring yourself to that point where you can risk failure, then how do you know what your limit actually is? This rep right here, I think, is a really good example of what that limit is. And this was very hard for me. As you can see, this was a grinder. I think most people probably would have given up before it even got off the floor. And the key is, just stick with it. Don't give up. The only time you should be failing is when your body is telling you it is done. There's no mental sign of you giving up. If you mentally give up on a lift, then you really need to think about what was wrong with your mind frame there, because that should never be the case. When you're getting ready for a heavy lift, you need to be so clear-minded. You need to be just focusing on your performance, focusing on visualizing that success. Because if you go into this with a negative attitude, you're setting yourself up for failure. And in this case, I don't mean setting yourself up for failure like I was talking about earlier. I mean, you're just being stupid. When you're going into the gym and you're pushing yourself to that limit, that's all that needs to be on your mind, is getting those weights and succeeding. Despite the fact that I failed several times in the past week and a half in my training, I also made several PRs. And at no point did the fact that I had several failures, did I let that get into my mind, and I continued to hit PRs. That's the key. The times where I did fail, I knew what was the issue. I was able to, make adjustments. I was able to say what was the cause and learn from it. And it didn't let it, make me feel less confident on my future lifts. This right here is 375. Just the week before this, I was only able to get 2 reps. I failed on the 3rd. A week later, I got 4 reps. That is a huge rep PR for me. And it's just because I went in there not with a single doubt in my mind. The key is you just need to push yourself and push yourself and push yourself, and you'll find your limits. And guess what? After that 375 times 4, that huge PR, I was a little overzealous and went for 390. And guess what? That was probably a little too much. Probably just a little too much. My form wasn't perfect. I had some technical breakdown. I was fatigued. And I failed. But you know what? I wasn't upset about it. I didn't let it get me down. I kept going. I went with my workout, finished up, and gained from that experience. And that's the key. You need to bring yourself to the brink of risking failure to find out what you're truly capable of. Because otherwise, if you never really know what you're capable of, you're probably not bringing yourself to your full potential.